if young Vance could see this now, like, he'd be so proud. Because young Vance had doubts. Young Vance, like, didn't believe in himself. Young Vance truly thought, like, it's going to always go for the worse. And then through hard work, through perseverance, through belief, through, like, honestly, just doing the fucking work, the hard ass work, the shit that sucked, the painful days, like, I've molded myself into someone that's capable. I was always attracted to combat. I love the idea of combat. I didn't like conflict. I still don't like conflict. Like, I have to remind myself I'm a professional athlete sometimes. But when it came to school, I love combat. So any chance there was to kind of have a fight, I was like really big into it. I don't know, I was always attracted to a good knock. I was 19 years old when I had my first fight. I fought a 32-year-old who got out of prison, and I think he'd been boxing before that as well. And yeah, he ragdolled me a little bit, but I started out 0-1, and I was like, man. Then I ended up winning one, ended up fighting a guy who was undefeated, lost one, ended up winning one, winning another, and then I thought, okay, this is it. And I took a really tough fight, had a draw, and that was the best thing to ever happen to me. Lo and behold, the matchmakers showed up to sparring, and I did really good with people who were really good as well. A bunch of professional athletes, a guy who was holding the belt as well, and they saw it. And I believed in myself back then. We all kind of knew like I was really good, but the fights weren't panning out. And the matchmakers came up to me and like, why aren't you fighting? And I was like, you motherfuckers, I've been asking you guys for fights for nonstop, you know? They're like, done, you have a new fight. The same exact time that they saw me and they decided to go get me a fight, I came to my teammate Victor's uncle, Joe. And I basically confided in him, told him I want to stop MMA, I want to start boxing, and you know what my plans were. We want to pivot, and he told me essentially, shut the fuck up. We're going to start doing double the work you think you're doing, and we're going to turn you into a champion. This is good for me. We need some adversity. Adversity is good. I love this shit. Without adversity, you can't really truly conquer yourself. So we went from training about 2.5 hours a night to 4 hours a night. We just doubled down the work ethic. And I remember when we were first trying, I was like, Joe, this isn't right. This isn't the right science, this and that. And I was complaining. I remember saying, hey, basically, we're here to work. You gave him a promise, stick it out. We doubled down on work ethic. I went on a 3-fight win streak and just ran straight to the title, got finishes, won my first title fight as an amateur for the #1 amateur organization in the world in front of 16,000 people in a stadium. Then I went up 2 weight classes, fought the hometown boy in Utah and flew a rear naked choke that should have been on ESPN and put him to sleep and won a second belt. So there was the proof now. We all knew how good we were as a team, but we started getting wins. So me, Auk, and Vic came out of a garage and we basically won 3 world titles with the toughest organization in the world. It was a lot tougher than I thought it would be. COVID hit right when I decided to go pro. So we were going through the pandemic looking for fights. Organizations were having fights. You know the drill. We still trained every single day. I had taken fights while I was getting ready for one of my fights. I snapped my LCL right in half. So there was 6 weeks I got put out. After I snapped my LCL, recovered from that, I tore my shoulder, got an MRI, and 70% of my labrum was gone. So we need to get surgery on that. So I had to postpone my debut even longer. So we are 2 years now post winning my second world title of when I decided I want to become a professional into me actually now trying to become a professional and going into surgery. I get the surgery done. I healed very fast and I rushed into my pro debut like an idiot. So we took a fight against another ex-Tough Enough champ. He was coming off a 7-second win in bare knuckle fighting. He had racked up, I think, 3 or 4 wins in a row, and he was like one of the only guys that I could get to say yes. So we took the fight, and I think it was like 5 weeks notice, which you want usually 8 weeks notice before a fight. And I went in feeling good. I definitely wasn't perfectly healed from the surgery, but I was good enough. And the fight was going smooth. Everything was going according to plan. I dropped him with a head kick in like the first 7 seconds after I opened up with a big strike. I was winning every exchange. I was letting him tire himself out on the wall like I do in every first round of my fight. And I was having fun. And I remember he buckled a little bit on another shot too. And in my head, I was like, man, I'm really going to get him out of here. He landed a big elbow on the cage and it pissed me off. So I threw a big left hook and I sat him down again. And when we reset, I remember thinking to myself, okay, this is it. I've sat him down 3 times. I could blow him a kiss and he's going to sit on his ass. Let's get out of here. And my left thumb actually dislocated on the last left hook. So I started to get a little antsy for the finish. So I jump into a hook, he rolls my hook, and he overhands me. He shattered my orbital in 3 ways. Knocked the fat off the back of my eye. I still have to get surgery for that. And while I was on the ground, curled up, he landed another 20 or 30 strikes. So I went from one of the easier fights of my career into the worst concussion of my life. I remember sitting there in the canvas looking up, and everything's just kind of doing little shakes and spins like if you had too much plastic bottle vodka one night. And I was just fucked up. And all I can remember is just saying, get up, make sure your family knows you're okay, like don't let them see you down, like win like a champ, lose like a champ, yada yada. So I got up real quick, shake his hand, tell him congrats, get in out of the cage, give a speech, go to the ER, start doing everything, and it was rough. All right, we took a loss. It's been a while. It sucks, but we were winning the fight. We dropped in 3 times. The 3rd time, I broke my hand. Let's see if you can see right there. And so my inexperience caught up to me, and I tried to rush the finish. So I threw a big loopy check hook, which we were having success with, and yeah, he landed the overhand. So it put me down right away. The legs were wobbly, but I was fine. I was there. It was just a knock. I was good. I was there, but he shifted my whole fucking face. So I'm pretty sure the orbital's broken. I will be back. I am blessed with work ethic, and I will be putting in some more skill work. And this is just the beginning, and I kind of like my story so far because I went 0-1 as an amateur, ended up a world champ. So we're coming back, and thanks for the support. You guys fucking blew me away. Love it. Thank you. At the same time, unfortunately, Victor's cousin was in the hospital passing away. There were no rental cars in and out of Montana at the time, and I was not supposed to fly home, but I wanted to try and get home and see him before he passed. So we rushed home in an airplane, which was a terrible idea with a concussion and a shattered face. We didn't get to say goodbye, which sucked. We landed, and I just remember feeling like my concussion went from a 9 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. I was in pain. The world around me was black and white. I was depressed, but not depressed in the sense of like sad. I was depressed like my brain's not working. A concussion is an energy crisis in the brain. I couldn't articulate myself. I was not having short-term memory loss, but I just couldn't I couldn't process a lot of things going on at the same time. I was just down. I was bad, and shit was spinning. I was dizzy. I was irritable, a little depressed. It was just such a typical severe concussion. So I listed together all the concussion protocols I had. And I remember one of my friends messaged me back, Wes Collins, and he goes, hey, why didn't you put more about methylene blue in there? I said, well, there wasn't a lot to see. And he goes, look again. And Wes was already like a point of authority in my head. And I was like, if he's saying look again, there's something to this. So I went and did the research on methylene blue, and I was blown away by what I found. Neuroprotective, can heal TBI, antidepressant, fish tank cleaner, synthetic dye, coming around from the 1800s, antiparasitic, cures malaria. Ongoing clinical trial for, I can't say the word because I got kicked off Amazon for saying it, but there's a lot going on with the brain in methylene blue. I said, this is promising. So I order it, make it in my kitchen. Still to this day, I don't know if I corrected the dosage or not, but did my first dose of methylene blue, and immediately, 5 minutes after taking it, I noticed this little bit of like jing, like the zing comes back to life. And I'll just say like everything went from black and white just to a little bit of color. I'd take it every day, twice a day for 10 days. And I'm starting to really have these breakthroughs where I'm starting to feel better. I'm a little less dizzy. Everything's coming back to normal. Have a little bit more inspiration. I can think clearly again. I'm articulating myself again. I have a little bit of energy when I wake up to go and do things. I can process a lot of things. I can get things done. I'm working now. And we're at the 2-week mark of using methylene blue. So 3 weeks post-concussion. And I go to see a doctor, get my eye x-rayed, get my hand x-rayed. We're still contemplating surgery on my eye. But my brain's at 100% again, I feel like, if not 99%. And I'm blown away. And I think the blue dye has something to do with it, but I also believe in my concussion protocol. And I'm kind of patting myself on the back at this point. I'm like, yeah, I'm the man. Like, I figured this out. I can heal from anything now. And we're ongoing recovery for my hand. I'm in a cast. We're in talks about surgery, and I keep on the methylene blue. So we are now, another week has passed, and I'm starting to think I'm feeling better than I've ever felt in my life. Another week goes by, and I'm for sure feeling better than I've ever felt in my life. Colors seem brighter. I am completely inspired to go and do things. I am happier than I can be. I have a clinical diagnosis for OCD, and that has vanished overnight. I'm not basing decisions off of like intrusive thoughts now. I'm able to think and process things. And now I am getting weirded out. So it should be a good thing, but I'm so blown away by what's going on. The way I've learned about nutrition and things is if one thing is that good for you, you're probably paying the price in another way. And I need to know what I'm shoving in my body. So I start looking into it, deep diving. I'm telling you, I could study for 6 to 8 hours a night on methylene blue. I'm fascinated by it, So like anything I do with research, I start shilling this out to all my friends and telling them to take fish tank cleaner, and they're all like, no, we're tired of your stuff. Last week you were telling us to macrodose melatonin. And I'm like, no guys, for real this time, try this. There's so much proof of concept now in my head because I've done the research, I saw the anecdotal reviews, and I experienced it. So I knew what they were going to text me with. And at the time with fighting, because I got paid a whole whopping $700, I knew that I wanted to get into other forms of work to get income for myself. My girlfriend had an accident on an electric bike. The brakes kind of locked up on her while we were going fast, and I watched her whip her head into the concrete. And she was in critical condition for a while. She ended up bouncing back, full recovery. But we had some medical bills, and we had a loss of work, and we had bills pile up. And so we went about $30,000 in debt. And I carried that. I carried that on me heavy, and I never wanted her to know that I carried that or her to feel that as well. So we still lived our lives. We still had good times, but I was completely focused behind like the veil of a smile every single night on ways to monetize, ways to make money, ways to get us out of debt so we could have freedom, because I carried that heavy every single night. And I wanted to start a business. And I remember at the time, I was getting all the texts back about methylene blue. I was doing the research. I was seeing how profound of an effect it was having in the world. And I said, why don't I sell methylene blue? And then the regulation answer came up. Well, because you can't sell a fish tank cleaner to people, or a medical dye or a drug or something synthetic. It's not regulated. I remember that was a thought I had in my head. We can't sell methylene blue. It's too much of a hassle. I had this moment where I was researching it some more that night, and I was looking at the anecdotal reviews. I was looking at people handling their Lyme's disease with it, people bouncing back from concussions, people early onset problems that they were using methylene blue to offset. And I got that, hey, are we doing this for income or are we doing this for impact moment? And I decided to buck down and say, fuck it. I believe in this and I want to do more in the world than just make money. So we're going to sell methylene blue. And that was the start of my company. I grew it by myself. My girlfriend helped me massively with the design. She helped me anywhere I needed help with, like labor, fulfillment. And, but I got to work. I immediately started buying Alex Hormozi's book. I've been watching drop shippers on YouTube, but I really started deep diving how to grow a business, how to run a business, how to scale it. And I just started implementing everything I could. Within 12 months, we were a 6-figure company, and within 18 months, we are clearing now 7 figures, and we are set for multiple 7 figures this year. I did everything right from the start with methylene blue, and it started to pay off. I got the highest quality sourcing I could get. I paid massive amounts to get it tested. I never did anyone wrong. I gave out free methylene blue to anyone who had a serious medical condition. They hit me up. If I had a wrong in my company, I overcorrected the mistake. I just carried old school kind of business values into the way we run our company, and it paid off massively. The company changed massively though. When we went from selling methylene blue to people and getting texts about how great it is as a supplement, and we started getting the texts, quote unquote, you saved my life. I remember the first one I got a long message on Instagram about an ice skater over in Sweden, and couldn't skate anymore, had a long haul virus, dealing with neurological issues. She got her methylene blue, took it for, I want to say, over a month, and she just messaged me after the first time she got back on skates. And my girlfriend, I read her the message. I remember I was sitting there, she's like, what are you looking at? And I was like, read this. And she was like, this is so amazing. So like, she was ecstatic. Such a good thing, you did it, wow. And I felt like I just got hit in the stomach. The business stopped becoming this fun thing that I was doing after work, this project I was growing and learning new things and seeing results with, and turned into a responsibility real quick. When you get a text, multiple texts where people are like, hey, you quite literally may have saved my life, that isn't something you can take lightly. I shift focus massively on the business after that. We stopped doing as much. We still do keep the culture. We still do have, you know, my kind of branding style, which I like to think is funny, blue tongues, Greek statues. But we started to double down on, we need to get this product out there as much as possible to anyone we can who could benefit from this. I don't care if it's charity, I don't care what way, shape, or form we're gonna do it. We have to do it. Carrying that weight on my shoulders changed me as a man massively. I'm doing a thing bigger than me and I have to get it done. There's no excuses. There's no rhyme or reason why we can't get it done. So I need to buckle down and get it done. And thankfully, I've been fighting for over a decade, and this is nothing I can't handle. On top of fighting for a decade, I've been eating shit almost my whole life for no reward. When I started this business, I was ready to spend 10 years grinding in order to get results on this business. To go where we have gone in such a short time frame has been nothing short of a miracle, but we also did everything right. So I was expecting it to blow up. I just was not expecting it, in all honesty, to blow up this quick. To hit multiple millions in a year is fascinating. I also, though, when I look back and see the way we built the business, it makes sense. So I am fascinated that it happened the way it did, but I also understand why it happened. And it kind of white-pilled me in that way, where I'm like, wow, you really can do anything you want to do in this life if you just do everything right. If you do it right and you put work in. Like, that energy has to go into something, and where energy goes and flows, it grows, like, truly. And it cannot be created nor destroyed. So that energy you get every day and you put it into whatever you're doing, it's gonna pay off. There's an old Bible quote that says, basically, all labor bears fruits. And it doesn't say that exactly, but that's the way I like to put a spin on it. All labor bears fruits. So anything you put energy and focus into will bear fruits. And I truly believe that, 100%. I look around my beautiful home, like the beautiful little circle I have around me, and I'm fucking blown away. And I'm like, dude, young Vance would be so proud.